My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Nunas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
I'm Sky.
And today we're going to be talking about two things. First off, we're going to discuss all the upcoming dramas that we're looking forward to. And not just dramas. We've got some other things we're looking forward to at the end of May and in all of June. And we're also going to be discussing Absolute Boyfriend, which we all watched the first episode of. And we watched the first episode of different versions of it. So we're going to talk about all of those. Okay, but first, what's coming up in June that everyone is excited about?
I'm looking forward to that search www. The posters are very female-centric.
Indeed.
So I'm hopeful for some, sisterhood, bonding stories, some just good workplace shenanigans. Hopefully.
I love Idahi so much.
But it's weird because the posters are all the women, but the trailers are all like romance kind of thing, and it's like
they keep changing
what we're gonna get. But
there's been like different trailers. There's been like the romantic trailer, and then there's like this trailer, and they literally like label them as different concept trailers. So.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking us for a little bit of a ride with these ones. Like, what are we gonna get? Who knows? So I'm like half excited for Arthdal Chronicles. On one hand, I'm like, I love a good fantasy story. On the other hand, the costumes are like hella bad. And Song Joong-ki does nothing for me. Because, as I've mentioned on Twitter, he looks like a jacked 13-year-old, and I am not about that life. Like, no, thank you. But,
I'm excited to watch it.
What's the older gentleman, as you see fella in there? Because he's got some daddy energy, and I am there for that.
Yeah. You really like fast forward through everything.
I'm just like, I don't need the main plot. I just need the villain, because I'm pretty sure he's the villain. And I
feel like it's this little take on The Hobbit and
it seems like
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I feel like they thought, let's get a pretty Hobbit guy and put him in face paint and a flower crown and see what happens.
See, I don't actually
I'm not getting that at all. Like, I get very
costume that, like, I'm just like, what is going on with this? It looks like it's made out of plastic. Like, this is not a good.
Some of the costumes look very like went to the department store and bought some things.
Yeah,
and then,
like
the
spirit of Halloween, like Lord of the Rings costume, like, but they're not called Lord of the Rings because Spirit of Halloween doesn't have any licensing. So it'll be like Ring
follower.
You're just like, okay.
I don't know. I think ever since like when they first put out the teasers and the posters and stuff, the feeling I've really got out of it is Clan of the Cave Bear. Like, it's got that sort of prehistoric type vibe to it, and I dig that. I think it could be interesting. So I don't know.
We don't know anything about the plot yet, so
I'm more worried about the way Netflix is unfolding.
Yeah,
it's like weird. 3-season weirdness that they're doing. Yeah. I'm more worried that even if it's fantastic, it's going to lose its momentum and it's going to get, like that one we watched with Jisoo, and it just ended. Like, it wasn't even set up like seasons, and it was just like, done.
We're done now, and you're like, what?
And I'm worried that they're going to do that, and it's going to kill it. Like,
I think if it's not as good or as highly received as something like
Kingdom,
then it's screwed. Like, people won't come back, and the only people who will be coming back would be people who are already in that, like, Asian entertainment viewership. Yeah. So they aren't going to get who they are obviously trying to get with it. They're not trying to get us to watch it. They're trying to get everybody else on Netflix watching it. So it has to be just really good, and I don't know that it looks like it's going to be that good. It might be enjoyable, but I don't think it's going to be the level that Netflix needs it to be.
It might be good, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be Kingdom good. Like,
no.
Yeah. And like Netflix has really gotta stop fixing stuff that ain't broke. You know? Like,
don't mess with the Asian drama season concept.
The other thing I don't really get is that Netflix has like openly been like, oh, we're here, like we know like binging is what like our service is for. Why are you trying to not make stuff bingeable? What is your goal here?
Yeah, you're setting up binging
but
obstacles.
They want seasons. Like,
yeah, like they want them to binge on non-Asian stuff because that stuff still has a beginning and an end. Even if it
like Stranger Things, you could like just watch the first season and be done with it. Yeah, the second one kind of keeps up the story, but it's not like you're like hanging on something that like
no, I just watched like the new season of Lucifer, amazing show, but like it had like a definite ending. They weren't just cutting it in the middle of a season and leaving you hanging. So why are they doing that for Asian stuff?
Yeah, because they're not even putting like a cliffhanger. They're just stopping. You know, like it's not. Yeah, it's not the like end of a season.
You to come back. It's just like you obviously just stopped this in the middle of the planned season. Like we can tell that there was supposed to be an episode right after this one. You know? Okay.
Exactly. It's like the kind of week by week cliffhanger that we're used to. That like, ooh, what'll happen next week? But that's not like a brings you back 6 months later kind of a cliffhanger. That's a and I'm done kind of cliffhanger.
That's how they're gonna end it. Well,
all right.
You say so. This seems like a stupid, but it's like when I'm watching some Taiwanese and Chinese shows. I tried to combine Chinese and Thai there, and like they'll just end the episode in like the middle of a scene, and you're like, why? Like you just finished, like literally someone's in the middle of a line, then it's like end credits, and you're like, why?
I actually feel like The Secret Life of My Secretary or whatever. I feel like it kind of does that. The way it ends,
just a little bit.
The way it ends there because it has the short episodes.
Yeah, that's right.
Episodes a
week. I also hate that when they switch to the short episodes. I mean,
I get it. I understand.
I understand why, monetarily wise, but watching wise, especially on Cocoa, when they don't just automatically start the next episode for you, and then when you do restart it, you have to do all that rejiggering to get the subtitles to work, because on the Roku, the subtitles don't like working right away. You have to like go in and turn them off and turn them back on. Like having to do that every 20 minutes is a pain in the ass.
It's like, I find that some of the networks and some of the PDs are doing a better job of making them actually feel like half-hour episodes and like wrapping it in some form and then starting the next one. Like sometimes you're like, ooh, they're really working this well, and then other times you're like, it just what? Why?
Yeah, it's like when they add like a little tantalizing like gasp at the end of like one half of the episode to like tantalize you to sit through that commercial break and come back to be like, I gotta see where this is going. Like that's fine. Yeah. But, like I still don't see why they couldn't have just combined them into one episode for streaming.
Yeah. You want at least that, like, you know, like how soap operas have that moment, and then they go to commercial, and then you come back, and everyone's still staring at each other. Like, at least do that.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah, but also, Cocoa can just go put the two together and then go here.
But you know, here's the thing about this. To bring this back to Netflix, you can't do that and then not return for 6 months.
And also not tell anybody that you're gonna come for sure.
Yeah. Like I might come back.
Who knows? Maybe we'll have a second season. You're like,
why are you doing this to us?
Imagine if that was your first K-drama and you came like, and I can just imagine a friend watching that and then coming back to me and like, I don't get it. I don't get why you're into these. And it's like,
stories suck. They don't have any conclusion and they stop randomly.
I think another thing is when you do have that language barrier with names, in my opinion, it takes a little bit longer, especially if you're not used to Asian dramas, to get used to the character names,
Yeah.
get a feel for the personality, all that stuff. And so if you're waiting 3 to 6 months for maybe the rest of the show, you forget names, you forget kind of what's the essential part of that character.
Especially if it's a show that they rely heavily on talking about someone who's not in the room.
Yeah.
Like, and referencing, and you're like, but wait a minute, what? Who? I've got to, like, sit there with, like, my drama list up.
I'm going to be honest. I'm the same way when I watch Game of Thrones with my husband, because I'm like, wait, who are I talking about again? Like, who's this dude?
Yeah.
Because there's, like, 800 names, and they all have, like, 14 different, like, names they're called throughout the entire thing. You're like, just give them one name each.
You're like, okay, I remember John, and I remember Arya.
But then they'll, like, start to talk about someone, and they're talking about John. They're just saying it differently, and you're like, but no, come on, just one name. Everybody gets one name.
A single name. That's all you need. Whatever, it's fine.
Well, I think some dramas would be really bad if you chopped them up like that, though. Like, for instance, I like Healer, but I think Healer is a good example of it's pretty darn confusing because they talk a lot about a lot of flashbacks and a lot of names of people that you honestly never see.
Yeah.
And in order to remember, like, complex storylines like that, if you chopped it in the middle, you would be screwed. Like, there would be no way.
Like, people wouldn't know what the hell was going on.
It's it's hard enough even if you do the whole season, but if you start chopping stuff up, it'd be bad.
And I feel like that I'm worried that that's kind of the case with Arthur Chronicles, because, like, fantasy tend to not do well by being chopped up in weird places.
Because it's a shorter drama just in general, too. Like, even chopped up, it's still combined, it's not the same amount.
Yeah.
And I think to compare it to something, I mean, that, the Woodcutter and Fairy show, which...
That was confusing enough.
Pretty simplistic cast, honestly, if you get right down to it. But since everyone kind of has, like, a past life and there's magic stuff going on, and it kind of got complex by the end. Can you imagine if that got chopped up? Like, it would have been... There would have been no way, like, to figure out what was going on.
Well, bringing it back to Netflix and things that I'm excited for, this is something that, you know, we don't talk about a lot here on this channel, but I am super excited that at the end of this month, Netflix will be re-releasing the anime Evangelion.
Yes!
So good.
Yes!
Seen it numerous times. Own it. But how great is it? Because I like binging stuff that I can, like, just leave Netflix on and then periodically say, yes, I'm still watching, but I don't have to get up and change the disc. That's, like, the most important part about this.
That's right.
I have
should
not
all
seen
watch it.
So I look forward to...
Oh, that's a show. You're gonna be, like, broken up really weirdly. That would be, like, terrible.
Yeah. That would be a show that could not survive being cut off, because people would be like, what the hell just happened? What? I don't even... Like, it's hard enough to figure out what's going on when you're watching it all at once, like, let alone think about cutting into chunks.
Yeah.
So, I have a question about it. Is it teenager, like... My 14, almost 15-year-old is getting herself quite into anime lately and mangas and stuff.
Honestly,
I mean, she's watching like Full Metal Alchemist right now. So
and probably 14 and 15-year-olds will act, like, if she's friends with anybody, they're probably watching it if their parents are gonna be loose and not strict. But there is, like,
it's a heavy show.
It's a heavy show. It's heavy metaphorically. It's, like, heavy. It does have, like, some sexual matter in it. There's
not like super overt sexual matter, but still there. And
I mean,
it's depressing. It's a very depressing show. You do not come out of it feeling good about life.
But also, like, I'm like, it's interesting to watch this series, like, now versus, like, high school Jessie.
Yeah, because I watched it.
So it might be something that, like, I mean, half the stuff she might not even, like, pick up just.
Yeah, I watched it when I was, like, 14.
I was probably, like, 16.
Yeah, but I was, like, a really weird 14-year-old, so I'm not sure if I'm, like, a good metric.
I'm not, like, a good metric.
My appropriateness for children.
Files, and I've been watching it since it started, so.
Yeah, like, I've been reading, like, crime novels, like, not, like, like Agatha Christie, but I mean like nasty, horrifying crime novels since I was like 9. So it really says a lot about me as a person, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know, man.
It's like it is in a weird gray area because I don't think it's like terrible, but I could also see where someone would not want
their kids to
watch that. But
I'm just looking for something that
all of her friends are gonna watch it.
So, because she's like super into it. She's trying to learn Japanese on Duolingo, and she's watching animes, and she's doing all this stuff. But like, and that's cool, right? But me watching like Japanese dramas is not cool, right? Because I'm her mother.
Yeah.
So everything is not cool.
I mean, there's some good anime out there right now. Like Your Lie in April would be really good for both of you. If you want to anime that's on Netflix right now that both of you could watch.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I'll have to wait for it to be
Black Butler's on Netflix. That's a good one.
I'm not really good at like determining what's appropriate for children, but Devil is a Part-Timer is hilarious, if that's of any help. It's been like a couple of years since I watched it, but I don't recall there being anything particularly objectionable about it. Like there's no sex in it.
I know, sometimes even people ask me and I'm like, yeah, sure, and then I start thinking about it. I'm like, oh wait.
And Inuyasha and Kenshin are on Netflix, right?
Yeah, Inuyasha I love Inuyasha. That's a good one. That one can be watched by kids, by teens. That sort of reminds me of my mom, because my mom really loves the movie Love Actually, and my like conservative family members were like, oh, like what's like a good rom-com? And mom's like, oh, I love Love Actually, like it's so good and cute and fun. Totally forgetting that the plot line involves porn stand-ins, and then another plot line is just a guy trying to go to America to get laid because American women love British accents. And then she was like, later on, she was like, loved the movie Bridesmaid and was like, oh, Bridesmaids is so funny, and then was watching it with like her conservative, cousins and was like, oh my god. I recommended this.
I've made a mistake.
But like, yeah, I'm trying to think like.
So, the first anime that I watched that I really liked, it's not on Netflix though. Library Wars, like that's my jam. It's pretty darn clean.
Ascaflowne is my all-time favorite. But it's nowhere, so sorry.
like I have the physical one.
Here in my house, I have both the Grand Sub VHS and the DVD set.
My two were, oh my god, they literally were just on the tip of my tongue. One was Tenchi Muyo. Love that one. And then the other one, never mind, Tenchi Muyo. I'm just going to go with Tenchi Muyo. It's fine.
I mean, I love Utna, but I don't, that's not a... I watched it when I was younger, but, like, I don't know that I would, like, give a 14-year-old...
a lot of the stuff that I watched as a kid, I'd be like...
Experiments Lane... all of the Gundam series. Gundam series are fun. Like the MS-18 or 8th MS Team is like my all-time favorite, but Gundam Wing is really good. Trigun is really good if it's anywhere. Crunchyroll might have Trigun. That's a fun one.
Well, on Netflix, for stuff that's appropriate for teens, ironically, the Ouran High School Host Club, that would be a fun one to watch with teens. Yeah. That one's so fun. And nothing particularly objectionable.
Yeah, it sounds more scandalous.
Everybody loves Sword Art Online. I haven't watched it, but that's like the big anime right now.
What's the name of the one that has the motorcycle rider that doesn't have a head? Kelty? Okay, never mind. It's like a pretty well-known one, and I think it might be on Netflix. I'll go look it up. Never mind.
I also really like, it's called Kuragahime, or Princess Jellyfish, is really cute.
Yeah, see, like all of my anime is like not going to be around. Like Weiss Cruise is not there.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yami no Matsue is going to not be there.
I mean, the reality
Crunchyroll is definitely a place to go.
The age that she is, I can't suggest anything, right? So it has to be her coming to me. So it's more of a question of having some sense of, like, if she comes to me and says, hey, you want to watch this with me?
Well, if she pulls up, you want to watch Orin School Host Club. You do. Trust me.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list. I plan to watch, so.
Dura Ra Ra.
Dura.
Okay, that one is the one I was trying to talk about. Do you know what I'm talking about now?
I've never seen it, but I do love it. And I used to love Slayers. I don't even know if there's anywhere to watch Slayers, but that show used to get me so good.
Netflix has Death Note, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I watched some Death Note. It's too depressing for me. I'm just like, this is just bleh. I didn't enjoy it, you know.
It has One Punch Man too, which me and my husband love because it's so absurdly funny.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would like say it for your kid unless she really loves Japanese humor.
Yeah,
then totally, yeah. But like One Punch Man is like Japanese.
Yeah.
I just love how like strangely nihilistic it is too, where it's like he's become too powerful that nothing is fun anymore. Too good. In the world of Thai television, finally, Two Moons 2 is coming out eventually. Now I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know, because, you know, Two Moons is such an iconic love of all of ours, despite being objectively bad. That, like, it is. Like, we, you know.
It's adorable. Shush.
It's adorable. It's just not good, but it's, like, good, you know? Like, it's not well made, and its pacing is terrible, and there's no resolution to half of the stuff that you want there to be resolution for, but it is real cute, and it makes your heart feel nice. So, but I don't know. I don't know if this new cast can stand up to the iconic portrayals from.
I think it's good. What we've read is that, like, what the story was in Two Moons 1, they are kind of recapping that story, but that's really only going to be about the first 3 episodes.
It only needed 1 episode.
You know, told over like 12 or 13 episodes is going to be like 3 episodes this time, and then they're going to develop the other story much more significantly. So
it's based
I think that will work in their favor.
Yeah, it's based on like a trilogy of novels, and a lot happens in these novels. So but, like, I'm also a little worried because there's so little looking, and there's a lot of nasty stuff that happens in those novels. Not nasty as in unpleasant, nasty as in
skim over some of the nasty. Like,
I feel like it'll be a lot of, like, you know, zoom in on the zoom in on the plants that just flew on the floor.
Yeah.
Let your imagination fill in what's happening. Like, these kids are little looking. Like, at least in the other one, like, they looked like they were at least 20. This one, they look like they're, like, 17. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know about this. Feeling a bit like a dirty old lady. Do.
One that I'm, K-drama that I'm looking forward to, I think, is Perfume.
Yes.
I know. I'm in that I think camp as well.
So I actually think it might end up being super campy and weird, but at least if I kind of know that going in, I'll be okay with it.
Like, the stuff that I saw from it looks real weird. Like, it looks real weird.
Yeah, they also just released another poster design, and it's like the characters, and then it has some words on it, and I can't remember, it's like talking about like something about love who you have because you're not guaranteed to have them all the time or something like that. It's very weird, and like they all had the same letters or the sentence. And
then all like the
I don't know what's going on with that show.
The screen grabs that they've shown, like the stills, are just like him in that Scrooge hat.
Yeah, so it's gotta definitely play off of that, but
I'm just really confused as to what we're about to experience. Because, like, I'm gonna be real. When we saw he was cast in The Last Empress, we were also not quite sure what we were about to get. So, like, maybe he just wants to ham it up again. I don't know. Because, like, the first couple episodes, he didn't ham it up. But then after that, he was like, time to ham.
Like, for sure. And the trailers and stuff are definitely hammy. So, I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to it.
Didn't we speak it into existence though? Like,
so maybe we have to watch it.
That I have to watch it.
Make it. We have to like. It's like going to see your kids like recital.
Yeah.
Like
you're obligated.
We signed them up for gymnastics. Now we have to go watch the gymnastics meet. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm also really excited for the President's Aid, not because I know anything about it, but because Imwan He is in it, and I just love him.
I haven't heard anything about if anybody's picking up, like Vicky, because it's a JTBC, I believe.
Yeah.
He's TBN.
Shin Minaj's in it, too, right?
That's her, like, return after taking care of her boobs. Taking care of boobs while he was sick. They better get married soon. I want to, like, celebrate a nice, fun marriage. Can that be can we just, like, celebrate another K-drama marriage? Like, it's been a while.
Let's will that into existence.
Give it to us. Give us a speak.
That one, yeah.
Yes, I want to speak boobs and Shin Minaj's marriage. Now that he's, like, in remission and things are going great, I want a nice little wedding for those two.
And some pretty little babies.
Yes. Well, I don't really care about babies, but...
Oh, but come on.
They would make really beautiful...
Yeah.
They would make some beautiful, thick-eyebrowed babies.
Kids are going to be models.
This is beautiful. Anything else that anyone's excited for?
There's a couple things that are technically not June, but they're coming up at the very end of May. First, it's a Taiwanese drama. It's Before We Get Married. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about it except that it stars Jasper Liu, and I adore Jasper Liu and his very cute dimples.
He's so
cute. It's in the Vicky coming, so we'll be getting it. I just don't know if it's going to be released when it airs. Which they have done it before. They have a couple of Taiwanese
lately. They've been doing well with the Taiwanese lately. So
that's gonna be interesting, and I'll probably watch it. And then this is not K-drama, but there's a movie coming out, like a rom-com that looks absolutely adorable. It's called Always Be My Maybe.
Yes, that looks so funny.
It's on Netflix. It's gonna be on Netflix.
It's a Netflix movie. Yeah.
So funny and so good that I'm very excited for it. Especially with that when they dropped the little teaser trailer for it. It looks good.
It does. It looks really good. It looks really fun.
And I think everyone kind of spazzed out when they saw Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves just appeared.
I was like in before Keanu Reeves even showed up, and
I was like, yeah, I'll probably watch that. And then Keanu Reeves showed up. I was like, oh, clear my schedule.
Yes, exactly.
I love how everyone is spreading the Keanu love these days. It's pretty funny.
We just love him. He's just a good guy, though. Like, in like personal life, he's always just so nice.
What keeps you so down to earth?
I know. Well, probably the life of tragedy is what.
Well, he says gravity. That was his response.
I really did like. He's the first person who ever gave a good answer to what happens when you die, and his answer was, "Everyone still here will miss you."
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
He's like, clever that way. Like, I watched his like BuzzFeed with puppies or whatever, right? And a lot of the time that was his, like, it was just like, you know, would this character of yours and this character get along? And he's like, probably. They're both cool dudes.
he's like back to puppies.
Cool dude too. Nah, he's just a nice guy. And he's always nice to everyone that he meets, but he has such a sad life. Like, you just want to kind of give him a hug. Like, just endless tragedy. I swear to God, he's like a K-drama character. It's just tragic backstory, turning into a nice dude. We like Keanu Reeves here.
We support Keanu.
Yeah, pro Keanu.
It's our certified approval.
Certified stamp approval. Keanu Reeves. May not be the greatest actor, but he's a great dude and always in our hearts. So, we all watched the first episode of the new Korean remake of Absolute Boyfriend, and we watched together the first episode of the Japanese version of Absolute Boyfriend. And did we all manage to see the Taiwanese version? No. Nope. Well, some of us saw the Taiwanese version as well. Oh boy. Okay. Like, there's been sort of a weird resurgence with, like, robot love Korean dramas recently, but I am here for it. And I am here for this new Korean remake because it's hilarious. It's so good. It gets, like, the first episode's good, but the second episode that came out, like, the first week really solidified it for me. Like, the first episode, I was like, oh, her boyfriend's a jerk, and they break up, and everyone's mean to her at work, and she keeps breaking technology every time she touches it for some... I'm sure that'll come back at some point.
It has to, but it hasn't when, she's been around robot or the computer screen, but whatever.
Well, I mean, when we're watching the Japanese one, it looks like that kind of was in the Japanese one too, because that was the thing. They're like, 4 major repairs in like 3 days. What's going on? We don't understand. How is she breaking him so much, right? So,
but like in that one, she wasn't actually the one breaking him. He was technically breaking him.
That was their translation of that. Like, so like in the Japanese drama, she's breaking him because he's doing stuff for her, and in the Korean one, it's just that she breaks technology.
Yeah.
Like she has to literally put on a glove to hold her phone.
Yeah.
She breaks the kid's robot arm that he's made.
Yeah.
Like, you already put on your, like, glove to talk on the phone.
Don't touch his little
immediately,
robot,
like, put on a glove for this guy. Come on.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me about the first episode, it was like, if a director acted like that to someone he needed to make his show, no one would ever work for that guy.
Nope, and also that special effects department is not existent how it is portrayed in that show
at
all.
No.
Like, nothing's correct on it.
No,
like, oh, God.
Yeah, like, you're expecting a little bit of fake, but it must be especially hard for poor Jesse, who works in props and stuff. But, like, say if that is how it existed, you would never, like, this person had an order that they fulfilled. And then they were like, we need to change the order at the last minute, but we're going to blame you for it, even though you fulfilled the order per contract.
Yeah, I was so confused by that.
And then when you provide a fix in order to make it so that we can film what we want, I'm going to be an asshole to you for doing my job when I just make your job.
It would happen in the, like, products that they have. They'll get changes because that happens all the time. But if they added stuff, what would happen is immediately that company would return and go, okay, since it's this is a late ad, you're going to be spending like 400% more on it. And they would have like the bill and ready and that sort of thing for the ads. And even if the like person was yelling, it would be like, they're yelling. So they're going to go back to they're going to be like, okay, then we've contracted.
Yeah, we
have a signed contract.
In our contract.
Yeah.
If you're talking about something that's already on the set, sure, okay, change it. Like, that definitely, if they had just moved it to something that was already on the set and did, major changes, that's more realistic than just, these ads.
Yeah, we need 4 more dummies.
Especially when that,
okay, no.
Almost entirely brought in and not part of the set at all. They would be literally contracting out these members. They wouldn't be on set in their own little special spot with that many crew members and then also do the makeup and also do this and this.
Yeah.
And it just when he kicked her bucket, I'm like, no one would ever work with this guy. Literally, no one would ever, you would have pieced out of your contract already. You would have been
he also wouldn't be that. Also the character, you would have seen that in every interaction that he's done.
Yeah, not just with just her.
Especially, the father.
It's portrayed that she's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
So, so it seems that
they're also just, buying everything, too. They're, just buying it from, America.
Yeah. But on the good side, Yoo Jin-gu is adorable.
Oh my God.
Beautiful in this. Literally beautiful.
It makes your little heart, you're just oh. And he's so sweet. I know that he's, programmed to be sweet, sure. But, oh.
His little face.
So pretty, and he's so, it's so cute when the handler is, at one point, no, we built him. We did all the research. He's got, the best eyes and the sexiest and the like, we put this together to be the most attractive Korean ever made. And it's like,
you're right though. You're right. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's where you got it right.
Right.
Yeah. It must have been so hard for him though. Like, it must be weird to be sitting there listening to somebody
say how good looking you are. Yeah.
You haven't had plastic surgery or anything to make that happen. You just.
Because he's looked the same.
He's so young too.
Yeah,
like
it's just, like, because he was a child actor, so like we know that he's obviously when he was like 13, he wasn't getting plastic surgery. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what he looks like.
That's just what he looks like.
Yeah.
So.
Just chronologically speaking, in case people don't know, the first one that was made was the Japanese one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then the
Taiwanese one, and
so
then the Korean one.
To like touch on the Taiwanese one, it's real bad. I just need to like, it's real bad. It stars what's her face from Boys Over Flowers, and you're thinking, wait a second, she's a Korean actress, not Taiwanese. You're correct. She is. Her every single line is dubbed, and not very well.
And even in the first episode, they're like, you look like the girl from Boys Over Flowers.
Yeah, like, they really tried to capitalize on her fame, but like the show is not good. So to be honest, if you want my personal recommendation, if you were to pick a version to watch, that's not the one.
No,
unless you're just way into Fahrenheit and really want to watch it long, you can go for it. But
like, that's not the one. On the other hand, we watched the first episode of the Japanese version last night, and that's the one.
Yeah.
We are all on board for that.
Yeah.
Like, I know we only watched the first episode, but like sometimes with shows you can just kind of tell, and this one was so good, but like so stupid, but so good.
Yeah. It had like quirky charm to it.
It's still popular now, why it's still so like, it just has that thing that you're like, yep, this is something I want to watch. I want to keep watching this.
I will say the robot is a lot derpier in the Japanese version than he is in the Korean version.
So
he's like
not like high intelligence like
kind of
Korean version.
And he's well, okay, like it did look like a few saucy incidents might happen in this, the newest episode, which will have already come out by the time that this episode comes out. But we're recording this on Wednesday, so the new episode, I believe, is tonight. So we haven't watched it yet. But and it looked like maybe some saucy stuff is happening. But in the Japanese version, he just gets right down to business. Mm-hmm. He's like, I think we should have sex. Do you want to have sex right now? And she's like, what? No, get away from me. He's like, you did pick because they have her do a survey in this one, but not telling her why she's doing a survey about like her perfect.
Well, she thinks it's like a dating agency or something.
She doesn't realize
because she's like basically picked out like from a bar where she was like already lamenting about her love life. Yeah. And like one of the like technician guys was like behind her and he's like, that's the girl.
Creepy.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I have to say. The other versions all do better than the Korean version. She chooses it. Whether she's drunk or not, she chooses this. So when it shows up, like she's still surprised because it's not what she expected, but like, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I remember doing the survey. I remember doing the, in the Korean one, it's kind of creepy. Like, if you're just watching it without context, basically a guy in a bathrobe is stalking her through the city, chasing her.
Really, episode 3 was really hard to get through because like she gets the robot in the Korean version because it's just a new body for her special effects company that she's like gotten shipped, but there's like things that happen and like he's technically not supposed to be there, but whatever. And then he falls on her and then kisses her, and so that's how it's activated, and that's why they're like combined. And then like episode 3 happens because she has a car accident and she's in the hospital and she wakes up and they're like, well, your boyfriend's out there to like, and she's like, what are you talking about? I don't have a boyfriend. And like the entire time she's just like pleading with the doctor and the nurse. She's like, this is not my boyfriend. And immediately the doctor just turns to him and is like, oh, and then she needs to get some rest and blah, 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 blah. And then she literally spent, it's like most of the episode, she's trying to get away from him and yelling at people, and everybody's like, but he's cute. What are you talking about? It's like, it was unnervingly bad. Like, I was like, this is like kind of well done if this is like your intention that like it's supposed to be super fucked up.
Like I have. There's been other shows that sort of talk about, like there was one, I forget the title of it, but there's like a single mother who's pregnant, and she goes to the hospital to give birth, and they're like, well, you need like a man here with you, and she's like, I don't have a boyfriend or anything, and then like she has like they literally will not let her sign in to give birth until she has like a male guardian, so she has to call like her secretary to like come. So I think that's actually probably more common in South Korea than...
The thing that got me about that, though, was that she's in the hospital for having had a car accident. And the nurse even says, well, she's been really speaking gibberish since she woke up. And they're like, well, she's probably fine. Let's let her leave the hospital.
Yeah.
If she doesn't recognize her boyfriend and she's been speaking gibberish,
maybe don't let her leave.
She needs to stay in the hospital and get
she's really pleading. It's not like it. Definitely, like they if they were trying to make it funny, like they completely missed, and that wasn't. They just were poorly executing it. I mean, she was literally like.
She was almost in tears.
Yeah, you could tell she was freaked out by everything that was going on. It wasn't like a good thing. Like even to the point of when she gets the robot and she has to be with him, she asked the guy, "Is it safe for me to be in the house with this robot?" And then immediately he's just like, "Well, don't fall in love with him."
And it's like that's not what you asked. That's not what you asked.
How high is the sex drive, like the sex robot aspect program? Yeah. This is what I'm asking you. Is it going to rape me tonight?
What's gonna happen to me? That's like what.
I
was like.
But like with those sort of things, like at the same time, I'm like, it could be a translational thing. Like it sort of harkens back to like when I was watching Oh My Venus, and there's one point where he's the first time he kisses her. And then it was translated as your body is mine, so you can't say no. But I don't think that's what it actually meant.
I think so. I think it is what it is. But it's like, in terms of the I'm your trainer kind of thing.
So I think it was like a contextually poorly translated contextually. Yeah. But like in this one, like I don't know.
It just went on for too long for it to be like a poorly translated thing. Because then also I'm like, is the possibility that this show is actually not trying to be a rom-com? It just has funny elements. Because there's definitely not a lot of like outward jokes that like really.
I'm going to say right now, this is not a rom-com.
Because the entire time I was like, I wouldn't count this as a rom-com, and everybody's talking about it being a rom-com, but I was like, there's not a lot of outward jokes. Like, when she breaks the kid's robot arm, that like is the comedy there, but there's no like comedic level to like when the director's yelling at her. Like that's where you would put a comedic level if this was a rom-com, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and like there's already a psycho. There's a psychopath. Yeah. So the thing with the whole robot thing is that he's meant to go to this woman who's had robots before, and she's literally tortured them to death. Physically, emotionally.
Like they show it, like they open up the little coffin of the like poor robot, and like they're like, and she did this and this and this, and like they show her, and she's just in shambles, and everybody in the room actually like kind of gasps. It's like not even just a she just did this to something that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's very uncomfortable to see, and this character, this psycho character, is one of the 4 that's in the poster, so you know they're coming back. You know so this is not a rom-com.
Yeah, and that's why kind of like also I thought like maybe because I do think like everything in episode 3 was done well. Like I really love the actress. I think she did a really good job in it. It definitely didn't seem like written wise it was like terrible, just the actions were terrible. Yeah. That like it made it seem like maybe possibly their intention was to have it played up that much.
Yeah.
To have later on something that like can really show how terrible that incident was for her.
I even think the plotline of the ex-boyfriend now is, there's no rom-com to that. It was very...
That was just straight up cold. That was just straight up stone cold.
Yeah.
And she had to make, she made some decisions in that, and she kind of just tried to accept it. And then there was even a lot of embarrassment, and so it wasn't funny. Like, I actually had to fast forward through her embarrassing part. Like, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was really terrible.
I will admit, I also had to fast forward when, like, when they, like, find her in his apartment. I was like, no, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. Like, I can't watch this.
That's interesting that, like, most of us fast forward.
I get really bad, like, secondhand embarrassment, and I was like, ooh.
No, and it was painful. Like, and it wasn't just embarrassing. It was
painful.
It was
and heartbreaking.
It really is.
The character had been with him for 7 years and had supported him for so long and done everything.
And made that promise to her.
And had done everything to, like, make his career go well. Mm-hmm. And he thanked his dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then called her a stalker.
And she's in his house because that's when he's supposed to be like, when he told her that's what's gonna happen when he wins, he's gonna tell the world. And so she's like made the little cake for him, and she's decorated, and she's like super excited about it. It was like an ordeal to get into his place because he's this major star.
Yeah.
And like
pretend to be his house cleaner.
That just like whole scene, and especially because the actress is so good.
Yeah,
that
really
is
good.
Like
I really like Nina. Yeah.
Like, because even like after the thing happens and she goes back to her house and she's like sitting there eating at the table, her breakdown is like absolutely like heartbreakingly and incredible. Like just the way that she does stuff is just so good. So then when you get to that point where she's gonna be found out that she's at the place, it just like was terrible because of that. You're like, oh, I feel so much compassion for this poor character.
Yeah.
Who has done nothing to deserve anything that she's been given.
I loved that was his manager's first reaction when he was like, no, she didn't dump me, I dumped her. And she was like, are you stupid? What's wrong with you? Who do you think you are? And that was perfect.
You do that to her. She's been with you for 7 years. Are you kidding me?
And you can tell like that she was supporting his career. You know, like she was behind him, making sure his career went well. Like you sort of, even without explicitly saying that, like you gathered that. You know.
I do think his character will have a redemption arc, though.
When he first tried to like break up with her, then he like covered it up by like, oh, what do you think of this script? Like, clearly, they've been making decisions together about his business choices and his roles, and
even, when she was doing the makeup, her like out to get to get him mad so that the other person could get out of the wardrobe person. Like, she was like talking about like specific lines and the way that he should be delivering them.
Yeah.
And I think that was a little hint towards like, that's what she's been doing.
In my mind, I'm adding my girlfriend's boyfriend into this because it's clearly a version of this story. But for me, like the Taiwanese one is goofy and goofy. Like the plot is goofy and the robot's goofy. And the Japanese one is goofy, but the robot is a little dark. Like he's got a little bit of a...
He's a bit of a masochist, isn't he?
Like, he's a little like, what's that Arthur meme of the like
clenched fist,
that underneath. My girlfriend's boyfriend is kind of, it has dark, but it also has goofy, but it also has that heart to it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the Korean one has the dark and the heart, but not exactly the goofy. Like the goofy,
I feel like there's gonna be like goofy moments,
but it's not quite there.
Yeah.
The robot is adorable. Like the robot is sweetness and light,
Yeah, and it was, and the guy could have, and I must admit that the relationship between the programmer and the robot in the Korean one is so nice because he literally sees him as a person, not as a robot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he's like, he's basically lived with him for a year and
need the bromance.
Yeah, a little bit of bromance. But in like the Japanese one, he clearly does not see him as a person.
Like, no, he's just kind of like head of that team. Like, they just are there to get intel about how their robot is working.
Which that's we need to talk about because that is an element of the unsettling to the Japanese version because they did not tell her that they are like monitoring to get information about his romantic abilities.
Well, not just one screen, an entire room of dudes
is like watching this interaction between this girl and this robot. And
his mood ring bracelet.
Yeah, his little mood ring bracelet. But like the robot's always trying to have sex with her because in like the robot's defense, she did say that she wanted her boyfriend to be a bit horny. So he's always like, I think we should have sex now. Hey, let's have sex. And she's like, I do not want to have sex with you. But like, there's like 4 dudes sitting in a room just literally waiting for this robot to have sex with this girl.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Contextually, that's not why they're sitting there. They're sitting there getting data about the robot.
Yeah, but no,
but still.
Yes, just sitting there waiting for him to get laid.
Kind of interesting because that's an aspect that I feel like in Korea right now, depending on how they had wanted to go, you could tie that into the whole Molka thing and like, because it's very much got that feel in the Japanese when you're like, what?
They didn't tell her that's what they were doing. So in the Taiwanese version, she legit orders it. So like she pays money and like agrees to pay money for it. But in the other two, neither of them ever actually agreed to pay any money for this robot, but money keeps getting mentioned.
Yeah.
In the
so
Japanese one,
if like the Korean one,
you owe us money, and it's like, what?
But
when
like maybe the contract? Like, Korean one, since it is actually like it does look like it's really picking up a lot that's in the Japanese drama just to fit into the world that it's created. Maybe in the Japanese one does have that kind of like bad guy character that the Korean one has, but maybe it is part of the robot team. And like it's not that way. Well, I guess there is kind of like one member of the robot team in the Korean one is kind of he's more money.
Yeah, he's the guy who needs to fund the robot company.
But it just seems like
making robots for this psycho.
They're doing something so like there was definitely times where you're like, okay, that's that person, this is this.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe there's in the Japanese drama there's got to be some bad guy character that's not just that stupid guy that she likes.
Shigawa or whatever his name was.
He's like a little like
he's like a mini boss. We need like a level boss. But I will say about the Japanese version, I really like the second male lead. Or is the robot the second male lead?
I feel like the robot is the second. Like it feels like it's really obvious that the lead is the theoretical entity.
Just the way he ate that cream puff.
Yeah.
I was like, I am down with this guy. Like, I wasn't down with him, because we watched it together while live chatting about it. And I was not down with him at the beginning.
Yeah, his first introduction was a little weird, but it was also coming, like, we're stemming off of, like, the other guy in the company that were like, oh, skeezy, and she's...
Yeah.
We're being told that she's that type of person that just, like, kind of attracts these really shitty people.
Yeah.
So we're, like, on the fence about everybody who has, and it's also, like, a 2008 jdrama, so everybody has their, like, weird hair.
The hair.
So, like, you can't follow, like, people by their hair.
The way I can describe the boss's hair is like a K-pop mullet that didn't try hard enough.
It lays down kind of funny, but I really like the J-drama a lot.
I did too. I was thinking about it after. I was like, I I don't have it in me to watch another episode tonight, but I will definitely pick it up again. Like, I could watch it today.
Yeah.
Probably will.
We probably will later, yeah.
A good thing about the Japanese one is it clicks right along because they have about an hour-ish episodes. And I mean, it went through a fair bit of plot just within
it was like, I mean, she has the robot within like 10 minutes of the show.
It was like 10 minutes, maybe? Like, yeah.
Well,
that's like, I have watched both seasons of My Boyfriend's Girlfriend, and it's the same way. Like, he has the robot really fast. Like, he has the first robot really fast, and then he gets a second robot. So, hilarity ensues, because it's cute, because it's like, the twist on it is that he's a guy, and he accidentally orders a male robot that falls in love with him as soon as it sees him. And he has to spend all the time going, dude, I'm straight. Like, we could be friends, but, like, I don't want to have... So then he calls up the company and is like, you jerks, I wanted a girl. And they're like, okay, 2 for the price of 1. And they send him a girl robot. But the boy robot, who's acting as a butler, opens the case, so she falls in love with the boy robot. So it's like this super weird love triangle between these 2 robots and this dude. But the story is so good. Like, it's super goofy, but, like, way more emotional than you think it's going to be. But it's a neat twist to the story for me. So I really, really, I love that drama. But, like, I think for me, the Japanese drama is probably second on the list, at least. Maybe once I finish it, maybe it'll be first. I don't know.
What country is the My Girlfriend's Boyfriend drama
China.
from?
China.
Okay.
It's Chinese. So it feels, when I watched the Taiwanese one, I was like, oh, they were very much copying the Taiwanese start, because, like, there's the weird dude that he, like, because the robots in My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, they're from the future, from the company he built, and then he, like, sends them back in time for himself, because he knows that this is what has to happen in order for him to, like, have a robot company in the future. It's very weird, but, like, it's very good, very enjoyable. So, but yeah, when I watched the Taiwanese one, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally, like, the weird sort of funky dude in the funky little costume and stuff like that feels very much like the Chinese one.
There's, like, Willy Wonka vibes going on with that guy.
Yeah, very Willy Wonka, but with robots instead of candy.
Yeah.
So who thinks they're going to keep watching the Korean one?
Oh, I definitely am.
Yeah, I will.
I definitely am. I really enjoyed it. Like, I really thought it was well done. So
it will be interesting to see how dark they go.
Yeah.
Really.
The cast is actually, I really like the cast.
Yeah,
I'm
the
really
cast
liking
is really
it. So
good.
that's really what's driving me on this show more than anything.
I'm definitely going to watch it again this week, but I'm not sure how I feel about it in general. So I'm sort of, and there's so much on right now. It's good. Like, I think it's worth watching. And maybe some trigger warnings for, like, episode 3. Like, it's a little...
It goes back. Episode 4, it kind of goes back to, like, going okay.
Oh, and I mean, it looks like it's all, like, cosplay. Like, she's full a box of, like, dead costumes for him to wear. So, like, this looks like he's, like, a pirate, and he's a maid, and he's got, like, he's just going to wear all kinds of costumes. So that's going to be fun.
So nobody's going to continue on with the Taiwanese?
No.
I've already suffered. I don't need to.
Take one for the team.
The source that I watched it from, it actually was like a super bad grainy version, so that's kind of part of it. Even getting my mitts on, if it was easier to access, I would maybe try a second episode just to see how bad, just because it'd be funny, but just because it's hard to find anyway, it's Whereas at least the Japanese one, even though it's kind of hard to find, you can find good quality ones, you know, and it seems like a good story.
Like, it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. Whereas
sort of like,
it was painful to watch the Taiwanese one.
Yes. Yeah. Painful is the word.
And I mean, that's coming from the dude that plays the robot was the main lead in the Taiwanese show that became my bridge over to kdrama. So I mean, Fabulous Boys, I love Fabulous Boys, and he's like the main guy in that. But yeah, I'm just not feeling it.
One thing that's funny in the K version compared to the Taiwanese and the Japanese version is that in both of those versions, he's like buck stark naked when he shows up, when the robot shows up totally naked.
Yeah.
Yutaku is wearing little boxers. like they were like, we can't have this little baby naked on.
Yeah.
No creative angles.
Grateful for, but it does kill some of that comedy that came in the first one. Like the Japanese one, they're doing the funny, the lampshade is placed just so, stuff like that. So like even there's a scene where he's sitting in the bathrobe and she asks him to cross his legs. Like she acts like she's scandalized that she can see something, but he's got shorts on underneath it. So it's not like she's seeing anything. Yeah.
Well, like, okay, I have, I don't want to get rid of your theory here, but I have seen some, they're not tight shorts. I have seen some.
That's true. She may be seeing
some stuff dropped out of,
But they were long. People were like, it wasn't like cute little boxes. Like they were like knee length. They looked like some sort of a hospital gown, like boxing shorts or something. It was
also,
very
I just want to harken back when we're talking about when she's in the hospital. Why was no one concerned that all he was wearing was a hotel bathrobe?
That's also, it's obviously he's, like, a weirdo. Just because he's cute.
Home with them, and I'm just like,
well, and, like, all the girls who are sitting in the waiting room were like, if he was my boyfriend, I wouldn't be saying no. And you're like, he's not her boyfriend.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if he's cute.
Murders can still be cute. Like, just, like, stop it.
And what if they were, okay, what if there was a creepy dude in a motel bathrobe saying all that stuff, and they were in a relationship, and she was trying to get out of it?
Yeah, what if it was, like, an abusive boyfriend that she's trying to run from?
Like, made her, I mean, he technically was the one who made her get into an accident.
I do think the Korean one, it's like it touches on reality a fair bit so far, it seems. Even with the star boyfriend, like, embarrassing her and all this stuff, and then the hospital thing, that makes it seem very real as far as the world that they've built. Yeah. Like, the stuff she's having to deal with monetarily and
her dad, death.
Yeah. And even though it was really harsh about her workplace, like, workplace crud, so.
Mm-hmm. I get, like, why they made the director so over the top, because, like, you gotta quickly build sympathy for this character. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, no one would ever hire this director. Like, no, this is how he was treating their contractors, like, no contractors would ever work for him. Like, no.
Maybe he just, you could have made him a little bit more, like, obviously being fake about being nice to everyone. Because he was like, and it might be the actor doing that too. It might be that, like, the actor was, like, not picking up that, like, he still had to be a shitty person even when he was saying not shitty things. And so, like, so when he was, like, saying sweet things to, like, the actress, he was just very, like, compassionate and not, like, any little bit annoyed, which he would be if he was that type of person to yell at the other girl.
The picture that I got there is that he's sleeping with the actress.
Yeah, I also got that.
That's the picture that I got out of that. That's why she's got her job, because she's not that great of an actress.
The guy and, like, anybody around him.
True.
Like, the other people who were like, oh, can we do a 10-minute break? And he was not, like, evil about that. Like, there just needed to be something. Or that character has been forced into that, and I don't like when characters are betrayed to make a plot happen. Yeah. Like, even if it's the smallest, it bugs me. Especially, but then again, he's just a small character. He
at one point says to her, like, I really respected your father, and he was really good at this job and everything. So you feel like if that was true,
then why would you be such an asshole?
He would be more, like, fatherly stern, like, not.
Except that what sort of gets me about it is that none of what was happening that he was yelling at her about was on her. She had done the job she'd been hired to do.
Everything happened. Yeah.
Like,
he would have been yelling at the extras. Like, he would have been yelling at anybody who was not a a high star in there. Like,
yeah, and like the problem that occurred wasn't her problem. It was his and the actress's problem.
Yeah.
Like, she did her job, and then she came up with a way to do the job that he wanted for him, which was above and beyond what she had to do, and he still acted like just huge dillweed.
I mean, maybe we'll like hardly ever see him again. So he's like, this is my last chance to make a stand on this show.
Like, I need to get hired again.
Character, no.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely.
It didn't deter me from continuing on.
No.
And the production quality is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Because it was pre-produced.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like many of the Korean robot shows.
Which
is smart. That's a very good thing.
Because like when they're trying to
do something.
Yeah, because I find like when they don't pre-produce shows that require lots of special effects or whatever, you can tell. You can tell. And like, you know, Are You Human 2 was so good, and like the special effects were so good that I feel like the next robot show coming out probably has to be like, okay, well, we can't be worse. Of course, I'm not counting I Am Not a Robot, because that didn't have that many special effects.
Yeah. The robot never really was walking around.
Yeah, like the robot didn't really do anything past like the first 2 episodes, except like
just like standing there.
So it was mostly a girl pretending to be a robot. You don't need special effects for that. But no, I think it's good. I think it's like it's well done. I'm really excited to see what happens. The technology to run this podcast can come a little expensive for all of us. So if you feel like helping us out, we do have a Ko-fi page that we would love you to join. You can you can put as little or as much as you want. We love all support, and we're going to be putting some fun special stuff up on the Ko-fi page. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have polls, we're going to have stories, we're going to have special posts, special interactions with all y'all. So come on down, coffee.com/certified Nunas. We hope to see you. Well, this has been another great, hopefully, episode of the Certified Nunas. We enjoyed talking about robots and hope that you enjoyed listening to us talking about robots. So you can find us wherever you're listening to us. We're now on Stitcher and Spotify. We're going to be doing more stuff on YouTube soon, so look out for that. And we hope you have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.